Hey everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to this week's live recording of the Canadian Rocketship podcast. I'm your host, Alex Norman, and this week I'm super excited to be joined by Martin Basiri, co-founder and CEO of ApplyBoard. Just 2 weeks ago, ApplyBoard announced a raise of $375 million in funding led by the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan. What are we going to do today? Well, so if you've been watching TechTO for the past 7 years, we help push the Canadian tech ecosystem forward. We like to agitate, we like to help people get involved. And we created the Canadian Rocketship List as many people kept on asking us, which company should I join? So about a month ago, we released the initial Canadian Rocketship List. It had 30 companies from all stages that people recommended that you should join to accelerate your career. And every week we record a podcast with one of those founders. Today, we're going to have Martin on. So Martin, please join us up here.
Hi, good to see you again.
It's great to see you. It sounds like you've had a spectacular year. I think last time we talked was about it was a year ago.
Almost.
Yeah. And are you today in the Kitchener-Waterloo area like normal?
Yes. Ready for everything to open up, right?
Yeah. Hopefully. Supposedly tomorrow we start being able to see people a bit more in person.
Exactly.
It feels like it's been 20 years. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. Congratulations on all the success. I'd like to start, before we even get to ApplyBoard, why don't we give us a 30-second background of what you did prior to ApplyBoard? Who is Martin and what should people know about you?
I was born in Iran 33 years ago. And I grew up very in love with technology. I was creating a lot of things. I sold my first project, I think at the age of 9 or 10. To my classmates. It was electronic circuits. Then I started in high school, do more serious stuff. I started a company, did my bachelor in electrical engineering in Iran, in Shiraz University. Had a lot of fun. And then done more projects. Some of them was pure software, mostly it was software and hardware. And then I couldn't find a school that I pursue my master's degree, and I wanted to come abroad because, for example, some universities here like mechatronics, and we didn't have that in Iran. To give you a sense, only 4% of people can go to postgraduate degree in Iran to good universities. So that's like that. And among that 4%, it wasn't a school that have a good lab for mechatronics. So I started applying here and there. It took about a year and a half. And finally, I got full scholarship from Waterloo to come here. 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago, I came to Canada. I loved it. I brought my brothers after that. And then we started helping other people as well. Fast forward, I finished my Waterloo education, and then I went to US and I worked as an engineer. And 2 years into it, I decided to go back to my previous life of being an entrepreneur and do different things and be able to work on something like 17, 18 hours a day versus just do a couple of hours and just do it for do it for my fun and my love. And I was very passionate about different things, and this idea came, and we were okay, we know how big is this problem, why don't we automate it? So we started the company from Velocity in University of Waterloo in May 2015. And the rest is history. Now we are over 1,000 people in 25 countries in the world.
Wow, that's amazing. First of all, an inspiration to start your first business at 9 or your first opportunity at 9, and I'm glad University of Waterloo accepted you and you accepted them. So for people that don't know what ApplyBoard is, why don't you give us the 1-minute explanation and overview?
Yes, ApplyBoard is an online platform for students from all over the world who want to pursue their higher education studies in Canada, US, Australia, or the UK. So it's a universal application system that they can easily apply to multiple universities with only one application, Right now, it works primarily for international students, so for the citizens of all countries except these 4 countries. And it works very well. It look at like um, hundreds of millions of different combinations and requirements for students, and it tell them exactly, for example, you as an Iranian student who want to go study master's degree at University of Guelph, for example, what do you have to like have, what is the eligibility, how is the application, and then you can apply within the same platform with one simple application. So it's pretty neat. I really like it because it's usable, and so far, like more than 200,000 students apply through the platform.
Wow. So 200,000 students. And I like it sort of tells you what your possibilities for what you want to accomplish are. So I'm curious, do you have an idea, like what percent of students come there saying, okay, I know I want to go to University of Waterloo and I have to understand it better, and then find another opportunity they end up applying to? Like, yeah, how much does it expand someone's perspective on possible university choices?
Yeah, like it's very very hard because they do multiple search, so it's very hard to graph all of
Yeah.
that. And a lot of time their counselor is the person who does the most of the job. Unfortunately, a lot of it's the process is still, even though with ApplyBoard it's so complex that majority of people, because it's the most important decision of their life. And
Yeah.
think about it, you are 18 or 22, you want to leave your country and you want to come to another country for studies. Like it's probably the biggest spend of your parents, from because majority of the students are from like an emerging market, so it's not like they have like $200,000 laying around so the kid come there. For example, in case of my brothers, it was my parents' retirement.
Yeah.
And they sold their homes to send it. So it's an important decision. They want to make sure they're confident about it. It seems like about half of the students, they have pretty good idea, and about the half of the students, they have no idea, which is a little unfortunate because you're like, how
Well,
can someone do it with in Canada, the data is a little worse. 80% of the students at grade 10, they don't know what they want to do in college.
wow. So I actually look at this as an amazing thing, because you're actually helping them think through the options. So before you started ApplyBoard, it sounds like you got back to Waterloo. You know you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and you had a few different ideas. So how did you know ApplyBoard was idea? Where did you and your brothers get the confidence that this is what we had to start?
Yeah, so I was working in the US. Then I knew I just have to get back to entrepreneurship. So I quit my job without idea. And then I done something for 9 months and I failed. Now I didn't have money anymore. We are coming from lower middle class family.
Yeah.
And even by GDP and the salaries of our parents, we really don't have any support. Like we didn't have any support. Now we don't need any support in terms of financial things. So it wasn't like we could moving back to our home or something. My parents are back home in Iran.
Yeah.
So we didn't have anything. So then and we were like, over years we were talking about the idea of ApplyBoard, and we were like help people here and there, not as a technology company. And then when my first idea didn't work, it was a time that both of my brothers now graduated college, and one of them was doing a digital marketing company for himself, and the other one, they're twins. The other one was working on a marketplace for home like trainers, so people to come to your home. So you go to the marketplace that I want to like do a bodybuilding, so they match someone to come to your place to do that. And then my first idea, when it failed, I came and said, I want to pursue this one, because if we can automate it and make $1,000 per month, I can pursue then the following idea. I knew something gonna come up, and then the moment we start thinking about it, it just got better and better. And I remember the first night we launched a product, someone bought it, a $500 package, and we knew we are on something. And then they quit their job, and I already didn't have a job, so we just pursued this one.
Wow, I love that. So it sounds like all three brothers are entrepreneurial, and moving to Canada was, a big choice. You showed the entrepreneurship by moving to Canada. You all had entrepreneurial urges. You all had skills, like the perfect complementary skills. It sounds like, and you saw this opportunity. I love the story. And then you had that first customer in the first night. But when did you feel like you had product market fit? Do you remember that? You said, okay, this is going to work, and what that felt like, and
Yeah,
what
I
led you to believe that?
remember this day that we went to use working with the counselors, and all of a sudden, I think like 20 students applied over one day. Applied means like they paid their application fee, not just like register online or something. And I was like, this is big. This is gonna become very big.
That's awesome. And now let's flash forward to, like, now, like, you just raised a big Series D. Congratulations, which should give you the money to keep on expanding. I'm curious, like this last year when I read about post-secondary education, universities, it seemed like international students were doing remote learning. So how did you thrive, or what changed during the last year when I would have thought there'd be a lot of headwinds?
Oh, interesting. Very good question. So our industry came down 77% last year.
Whoa.
So it was, and the reason is 77% is not zero, because the first semester, which is January 2020, was normal. So that really helped. So it crashed and everyone felt it. The way that we went for it was like, if everything going down, like we know like international education not gonna go away. So somehow it's gonna do, so we need to continue do what we do. And that's why we decided to not only instead of like as getting a company smaller, going to the defense mode, see what's gonna happen, we started hiring, and we started like doubling down, and we went from pre-pandemic about 400 people to like in a year about like 900 people in a
Wow.
matter of like 12 months. Even right now this year, the size of the industry compared to 2019 is hardly 60%, but since then we've grown like over 10 times as in a market that came down 40%. So we really like stood with our gut that it is. But the bigger picture is, so consider right now in Western countries, about 50% of adults going to university, college, some sort of post high school education, post secondary education. Right now, if you want the same ratio, and probably you could argue that even right now here we need more people with a skill set, like COVID was showing a very good sign when COVID happened. Like I think people who had any sort of a post-secondary education only got affected their job by a matter of like 10-15% versus almost like 40% for other categories. But let's stick 50% is the agenda. Today, the whole world population of higher education students, post-secondary, is about 165 million students. If we want to keep the 50% agenda for the entire planet Earth, we need to have another about 240 million students in the university or college.
Yeah.
Every single week, we need to build 2 or 3 universities the size of U of T around the world every single week, just to address the need of today. So you're talking about something like 8 times the population of Canada can't go to university. Like this is not like, we can't like sit down and say just because you were born in Iran or Iraq or Afghanistan or India or Bangladesh or China, it's okay for you to stay uneducated. No, education should be accessible for everyone. So the biggest challenge is not about like what we solve. I don't think we even solve 0.1% of the problem. We are just started. We have to like think about how can we every day help 1 million students, and
Wow.
that's a big thing.
So just relate to that. What do you see ApplyBoard in 10 years? Because when I like I see you're getting funding, but the other thing is I see, like, especially in the venture capital industry and tech industry, everyone's like, okay, the days of universities are over. There's got to be a new form of education. So, I love your vision that's saying, hey, there's a lot more universities needed, a lot more students needed. So if someone's going to join your company now and they stay there for 10 years, what would the company look like?
Yeah, good question. So first of all, ApplyBoard is not married to the type of education. So we category us as a company that facilitate the access to education. We never say education should be this way or that way. Oh, we only gonna do online education or only on campus, only 4-year bachelor versus days. We are building infrastructure that any format of education can be sold and can be received by the customer. That's number one. So, but right now we focus on the problem. The main problem. The main problem right now is even the 50% who go into universities really have a hard time. So let's help them first and then expand. Like, you can't solve a $5 trillion problem by attacking every single angle of it, like every single day. Even for a study in Canada, we said, okay, let's focus on international students now, not even the Canadian citizens right now. So that's number one. In 2030, I believe we can. I'm very confident that the dream of, if the students is a student who are willing to put the time and effort, I think we can solve 100% of access problem, financial and things. So the poorest of the poorest person in the world by 2030 using ApplyBoard should be able to study in the best university, even that person doesn't have a dime. We should have all the infrastructure and financial and everything ready for them. It's a big thing, but I think in the next decade we can solve this globally.
Wow, I love that vision, and I hope it comes true. That's impact. We are talking about the Rocketship list. We're talking about people looking to accelerate their career. So if someone's interested in joining ApplyBoard, what's the culture like?
Yeah, extremely good. First, do it. Please join ApplyBoard. We have 250 roles open. Majority of our people, our company is extremely mission oriented. Is a tech for good. So we care about what we do, and we do things like our way. A lot of the things that they do, like, it's pretty cool. We have very, very least amount of like things that just people taking themselves only as a consideration. Mostly is a team play. They're working for the company, like, it's like, yes, it's like a for-profit company, but our mission is access to education. We are like touching people's life, so people are very well aware of it. So what I love the most about it, when I see like our engineers and stuff, they're like, I never felt that impactful in my life. So I think the first thing that they will experience is impact. Like, for example, like every right now probably the data is even less, but I was looking at Q1. Every 12 minutes, one student started a classroom because of ApplyBoard.
Wow.
And almost like every 20 minutes, one direct jobs created in Canada because of ApplyBoard. So like, that's the biggest thing like ApplyBoard can give you, like in a company, that you can feel that what you do have a big impact. The other thing that is very interesting, and I didn't notice it's interesting because it was natural from day one, and more that other people come to our company talk about it, is like two things. Number one, because like we have people around all over the world, is like extreme collaboration to get things done, and people don't feel that, oh, like they have to like do whatever to take things. Like, people all open to ideas and they want to get things done. And the other thing is like they really love about diversity and culture. Like 60% of us are minorities, for example, in Canada. Like we speak, like we are from 45 countries. We speak over 65 languages, right? So like you get exposure to different culture immediately, and it's absolutely good training for you to leave last amount of bias that society gave you, and you put it aside. Now, like, my hope that if anyone work at ApplyBoard after 6 months, they become gender blind, race blind, accent blind, nationality blind. Means when you're talking to people, you don't even see their gender anymore. You don't see their nationality anymore. You don't. So all sort of, you want to call it racism or biased thinking, goes away within 6 months, and you just purely working with people because they're human being.
So I love that. Actually, let me see if I can bring this up. As someone listening, Daniel Warner said, this is just incredible. So usually I ask what it takes someone to be successful at your company. I feel like you've answered collaboration, teamwork, worried about impact. So let's flip this around. Like, if so, you have 250 positions. What roles are they? What are you looking for? And then what's the application process look like?
Yeah, we have 250 roles. Application processing sort of is like across the board is same, but it's still so many, like every 2 months we are creating a new department. So like, think about it, like we are still not at the age of super steady that you think like everything is exactly same. So I try to be like as general as possible. Of course, it might be different from team to team. You go and apply. If your application gets selected, they contact you for interview, and then after that it goes. Normally, like, we have a lot of people apply, so after the interview, there are multiple people see you, and then they gather together unbiasedly talking about that person. So they normally don't share information about the candidate before the interview with each other, because they want like unbiasedly like interview you. So you will see sometimes same question from different interviewers, and that's very helpful. Sometimes, like, someone said, I really love this person, but I'm very worried about this, and this is my concern. Can you go and drill in as well? Engineering, you have like a technical meeting as well, so 1 or 2 from, depends on like the role, like solution architect, pair coding. We have almost like from marketing to finance to engineering to administration. You have every single type of job. So it's not like a one category or two. Yeah.
So you're 900, you're expanding to right now 1150. So a lot of open positions.
Yeah, we are right now 1050.
Oh, 1050. Okay, so wow. So, and probably by the time we've done this, it'll be 1051.
Probably.
Yeah. So just one last question here about culture and someone looking at joining. So, like, look, you're growing incredibly fast. You're adding 25%. So what does it take mentally to succeed joining a team that's growing so fast?
That's a very, very good thing, because actually when a company going that fast, that might be the perfect opportunity for someone, and that might not be the good opportunity for someone. Generally speaking, majority of our roles are in the area of like fast growth. Reorganization is happening on very fast. Like, teams get created very fast on the new problems. So our organization is like, think about it, we are talking about double the size. Like, from 2018 we were 30 people. In 3 years we came from 30 people to like over 1000. So if you think this is in this type of organization, opportunities are here and there, but you need to grab them. And on the other side, you need to be extremely flexible with changes. So if you want a type of a job that nothing change, instruction for your job doesn't change, responsibilities don't change, you just come do same thing, probably right now ApplyBoard is not the best place for you. But if you want to be part of, like for example, like there's a task to create a new service, and you could be part of it. And if you want to be part of like making future, this mission that I told you, this vision that I told you, if you want to be part of it and you embrace activity and teamwork and fast growth, and you want to be number one, and you want to just be like, you want to be so excited about your work because it's going, I think that's the right job for you.
Excellent.
Like,
Great place to learn.
exactly.
You help someone get their their education, and then they can come to you to continue learning. Last question I have for you: where can people find the roles? So where do they go
That's
do it?
our career page.
So it's
Just
applyboard.com/careers, jobs,
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, and they can apply, and that's the only process. We don't have like, even if you are my friend, I send you like to that process. We don't have we have our ATS system, everything. Like, we don't have any other parallel process.
Yeah, so they can't direct message you on Twitter, and you can't pull strings.
Of course they can, and then I appreciate them for their interest, and I send them the link for the career page.
Awesome. Martin, thank you so much. Just one last comment from people watching right now. Catherine says, hey, love it. Impact from every single angle. This is amazing. And from my perspective, I love the fact that you're building a large company, and you're building a company that, like we always say, TechTO, we're trying to build companies in the ecosystem different than the Valley. And this represents what we want to see in this ecosystem. Someone's having impact, someone's diverse and inclusive, and growing fast. Thank you for your time. I hope a few people that listen to this apply, and I'm sure we'll speak again soon, Martin.
For sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to subscribe to the TechTO newsletter to stay informed of what is going on in the Canadian tech ecosystem, to hear about other live recordings of podcasts, and hear about company news and analysis. You can find it at techto.org/newsletter. And if you haven't already listened to the previous Canadian Rocketship podcast, you can go to our Spotify or Apple podcast page and subscribe and listen to the past previous episodes and be informed of upcoming ones. Next week, we have Andrew D'Souza from Clearco going to talk about their journey. Another Canadian company going super fast, and when that'll be interesting because they've as they've matured, they've changed their focus, and I think we'll have a lot to learn from Andrew, who's been around this ecosystem for as long as I can remember. Thank you, and have a great Tuesday afternoon.